Trent, lead the way, Trent. I think you got to clean up there. Sorry.最后啊，就是几乎牛让你们过来。我跟那个张总说，让我进来这个，对，我想我朋友这个是对，然后今天这个活动，好像是我知道你是那边华电的领袖，要不要跟你想打招呼？可以啊，你可以当然了。
All right, good evening everyone. My name is Gene Wu. I'm a state rep here in Southwest Houston in District 137. This is not Gene's show tonight, but tonight we're here for a very serious item. For those of you who don't know, we had a very tragic attack, a robbery and a shooting that occurred in our community about 2 weeks ago. This has caused a pretty significant turmoil in our community, and people are very afraid and want to know what the path forward is. So joining us tonight is our HPD Police Chief Troy Finner, and also our Executive Assistant Chief, Chief Tien, who are going to be doing a few things. One, they're going to debrief the community with details about what happened, and how the search is going for the suspects. I know one suspect has been arrested, and just talk about generally what's going on in the case, provide a little information for the community. But the second part of it is that we would like for the chiefs to discuss what is the path forward for the community, and to talk about what kind of steps both the city can take and what kind of steps the community can take, and how we can work together to reduce these types of crimes from happening. And I know that I would be remiss if I didn't say it, but I know the community is especially on edge because we've been dealing with, years of rise in anti-Asian violence, anti-Asian hate, and our community is especially sensitive to these type of things because the community feels targeted, and I think that's maybe the nicest way to put that. And then after the chiefs talk, we will have time for Q&A and statements. For any elected official or anybody who wants to make a statement, either to the community or to the chiefs, that would be time to do it. We would ask you keep it short, and I'll talk about the rules about Q&A and stuff. But before we start, I want to make sure we recognize all the elected officials who are here. First of all is our Texas State Senator John Whitmire, our Commissioner, Precinct Number 4 Commissioner Leslie Briones, our Council Member Edward Pollard, and also Council Member Alice Chen from Stafford. And I know that Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee is on her way as well. And with that, and also I would be remiss if I did not recognize former Chief C.O. Bradford as well. Thank you so much, and I'm going to hand it off to Chief Finner.
Thank you very much. First thing I want to say, how honored I am to be here in this community, very, very important community in Houston, not outside of our community, We're all together. Just want to say something. I'm looking at my executive assistant chief, and I want to congratulate him again because this is what I say is his community, the first Asian executive assistant chief in the Houston Police Department history, and I'm so very proud of him. Thank you. I met a few meetings, I made a few meetings with him, but every time I get a chance to acknowledge him publicly, he's a great man, great family man, a great leader in our organization, and well-deserving. I want to say this real quickly. Before I move to that, he's got on a long sleeve shirt. He just took his tie off, and I got on a short sleeve shirt. So when we were in headquarters, I had on the long sleeve shirt with the tie. So I dressed down so I could be like him, you know. He dressed up to be, so that's the difference in the uniform. But look, seriously, anytime tragedy strikes a community, there's an opportunity to look forward and say, hey, what can we do in the future to prevent it? But also, let's never forget about the victim, in this case, Mr. Tien, and his family. I saw Chief Tien visit him in the hospital, but I saw many reports on the news. And I just want the community, including the police department, make sure we do everything we can to help that family emotionally, spiritually, and financially. He was the breadwinner of that family, and that's important. So just everybody rally around him. But as you know, and I'm going to let the lieutenant, after Chief Tien says a few words, because one thing I've learned as a young police officer, when you come to community meetings, talk less and listen more to the community. When people come out and you expend your valuable time, I want to hear from you, not so much from the chief, because I want to know how we can work together better. I know that there's some fear in this community, and it should be, but I want us to look at the actual numbers. They're really, really low here in Houston. We are really a great community, the most diverse, and you have a police department. We love everybody, and we support everybody. But when one community, and now it's this community, is hurting, we all hurt together. And the greatest thing, most of my life, I've been a police officer for 30 years. Whenever tragedy strikes, somebody's hurting, regardless of the community you're from, we all come together, and that's the beauty of this city. And I'm just so honored to be the chief here. We're going to continue to work together. We're going to continue to watch out for one another. If you see something, you say something. And that's so common, but it's so true. Don't wait until something happens. If you see somebody lurking around and they're looking suspicious, call us. But I also want us to, there's a perception with the Asian community of crooks, thinking that everybody carries cash. So you are a target, okay? And just know that. So when you're going and coming from banks and stores and conducting your everyday business, be observant. Try to, go with at least 2 people. If somebody's driving, passengers, look around. And when you get into your car, look around before you get out. And when you get in your car and you're driving, check that rear view mirror. Check the side mirrors. Make sure nobody is not following you. And then if you're feeling like somebody's following you, know where the police departments are, okay? Know where you can go and drive and get some help, but also get on that telephone and call us. And you know what? If somebody's, don't get out that car. And if you leave the bank, my goodness, go to where you're going. Don't stop off at the store. Don't stop at the cleaners. Go to where you're going, okay? And let's try to, those who are still packing a lot of cash and whatnot, let's stop that. Let's use some technology and stop carrying so much cash. But I'm not blaming the victim, okay? I'm just asking that we all make, better decisions and do things that's going to keep us all safe. And we're right here with you. But I'm going to be quiet for right now and pass it over to Executive Assistant Chief Tien, and then we'll get y'all Lieutenant to give us an update on this particular case.
Thank you. My name is Tien. Thank you, Chief, for the introduction. I'm going to adhere to what you said. Listen more and talk less, but I will make it short. But judging on the size of the crowd today, almost every single seat is filled. Those are not filled or reserved. Safe to assume that the community is super engaged, and thank you for your commitment. It's always an old saying, if people don't come to events that come to your attention anymore, three things just happen. Either A, you don't think you're gonna do anything, or you don't care, or you can't do anything. But judging the size of the commitment here, I thank you for being here. But most importantly, I really want to say this, the chief is never out of uniform. We are out of uniform, right? So that is a true statement. That is true. I saw Chief with his long sleeve and stuff on, so I figured I just needed to, look like Chief tonight, so I dressed up and dressed down. But without further ado, when the stuff actually happened tonight, I do want to highlight some stuff that Chief did put a lot of emphasis in it. When the incident occurred tonight, when Mr. Tien was shot multiple times and subsequently was in the hospital, and Chief actually came to me, Van, we need to make this one of our priorities, and this is important because not the crime itself is impacting a small community, but the fear of crime itself is just as important. So get ahead of it, put some emphasis into that, make sure these investigators are, burning those midnight oil to get the investigation going. As a result, one of the suspects was apprehended pretty quickly, right? I will put this over to, defer this to Lieutenant Graham J. He will speak in details, at least provide some details and some insight into the case.
My name is Lieutenant Andy Granger. I've been with the department for about 17 years. I'm over at the Robbery Division, West Squad. At this time right now, what we're looking at right now is we're waiting on lab results of records that we have as far as looking into when we arrested the suspect, he was found in the vehicle. We were able to waiting for those lab results to see what we could find of the case, and also other pending lab results that we can say. We are doing our due diligence to review and doing what we can to get what we need and apprehend a second suspect. But for this case, I will say that the witnesses were key in this case in finding the license plate of the suspect's vehicle. That was pretty much a key element. So I want to ask the community and also to see if you have anything, if you know any leads or anything, please provide that to us. We'll take that as we review our records that we have as far as continuing this investigation. Like I said, we're making this a priority for the community to look forward as we move forward with this investigation. And right now, I know since I checked this morning that the first suspect is still in jail at this time. And we're going forward, we'll see what we can do. And we will do what we can.
But I do want to highlight a keynote, as Chief mentioned, when you see something, say something, the most critical, not one of the most critical, the most critical element to this particular incident is the key witness to actually witness the incident and report it and provide some valuable information to the police. That's why one of the first suspect was apprehended pretty quickly.
Thank you, and I failed to say, and forgive me, we have so much support in this region from our elected officials, and I want to thank you for your support, local, state, and federal. Thank you so much, and I've spoken about the great citizens. Thank y'all for showing up tonight, but I'd like to open up for questions we need to hear from our citizens, right?
My name is Charlie. I represent the departments wholesalers. So our concern is not only the home burglary, it's also business burglary. It's our another headache. Because right now business is kind of slow. It's hard working, earn some money sometimes. But for example, I have one case here. The symptoms, we appreciate the police department's busy schedule, so like I did my own investigation. I find the crime note's home in 15106 Reading Wood Drive, Missouri City, Texas. When I called the Missouri City police, they said, call HPD police because they patrol this area, don't belong to Missouri City. And then I called HPD, I filed this report last year with Midwest, right on Harvard. Even after 2 or 3 months, no detective assigned, I gave them the home address because the lost item comes with a tracking device. We can locate it exactly that house. There, I even find 4 stolen car there because I know so many people for cigarettes on the Harvard. One of my friends is Mary Lee. Her car was robbed just 15 seconds when he talked to somebody. Then that guy jumped into the car. That happens from time to time on Harvard. I found that car even. So I reported the police, the 4 license plate. I say, all paper plate covered. So you better take some action, right? Because we do it. So now I have so many lists there, but still no. As of today, it happened September 21st last year. As of today, no one got arrested.
We simply, and let me apologize to you, and I want to get down to the bottom of what's going on with the case. Seems like you have possibly a case number and whatnot. Let me look into that. I have Commander Westside Reese Hardy, and Midwest Commander Becker is here as well. But we need to look at that, okay? And definitely, if our citizens are conducting their own investigations, we got to meet them halfway because that's our primary role. We should be there. We should be helping out more. But I want to get the details of it, okay? Thank you for bringing that to my attention. But if you can, the commander or whatnot, get them to him, and we'll look at
that. I talked with Commander Reese. Actually, I also want to say, you may hear a lot of complaint or whining from the Chinese, Vietnamese, or Indian communities about the crimes, unresolved crimes. But still, we understand there are always more cases than police officers. You guys are very, very busy. We understand that. It takes time sometimes to find these. But one of the story I heard that, like just that I mentioned the marriage car was after the stolen. The guy drive the car 3 months, charged the $560 easy pay. They don't care. Just at Missouri home, they just the stolen car. No one is that.
It's very frustrating, but we're going to address your cases. And thank you. And it's not whining. We need to hear from you, okay? So thank you. All right.
Just real quick. Also, if you're a staff member of an elected office, if you would stand up and tell us who you are. I know Justin from Senator Miles' office is here. Thank you. And my own office, Adrian and Amy are here.
Chief of Staff for Councilmember Tiffany Thomas.
Tiffany Thomas's office here. And of course, we have our own Congressman Al Green is here. And Congressman Chao definitely is here. And do you have anyone from Lizzie Fletcher's?
Kim Mark, Harris County District Attorney Kim Mark's office, Special Prosecutor Law Enforcement Liaison.
So if you like, and if people watching on Zoom would like to ask a question, do the raise your hand thing. If people would like to ask questions here or make statements, please come to the middle and use the microphone. I would really encourage everyone to just ask the question. You don't have to preface it. The chiefs have been doing this for a long time, and they're smart people. So I would encourage you to everyone just ask your question or make a statement about what you want to see done. And I'll bring this in until some people get the courage to ask questions. One of the things I know the community has been discussing is the substation at the Welcome Plaza. I know that's something that the community cares very much about and really enjoys having there. We know it's been the hours that substations have been reduced, and sort of the question that I actually have posed to Chief Tien is, what can the community do to increase the hours of operation for that substation, whether that is through the city, or whether the community raises money, whatever it is?
It's not a money issue, it's a staffing issue. And as you know, Houston was keen to storefronts. And at the time, Chief Bradford, which was a chief, and a few chiefs, and we were proud of that. But let me tell you something, it's a different world. There's a lot of technology now. And when I was over patrol, I did analysis on all the storefronts. I think we had maybe 24 at the time. Nobody was coming in those storefronts too much again, okay, like they were. We're very low on staffing. I did not remove the job from those community service officers, those DRT officers. I simply said, look, we're not going to have 3 and 4 officers sitting up in the storefront all day, and we don't have the volume of calls. Now, we closed down a lot of storefronts, but this particular storefront is very important to the community, and you still have people coming through there. We reduced the hours. The storefront is still there. If you want to have community meetings, if you have keys to get there, officers will show up, but I need officers out rolling around. And they're not so much running calls for service. They're still DRT and community officers, and it's better served. And when they're actually out in the community, going and seeing and talking to people, not sitting in that storefront when nobody's coming in. Now, I'm going to be honest, a lot of people, and I had to shut their storefronts down, and I still left your storefront open. That was a big problem. But you know what I did? I stood behind the facts and the stats. There were still people coming in there. So that's the way, that's totally my decision on the storefront. I need y'all to support me and trust me on that, okay? Nobody's closed it down. If you need to have meetings over there, we have our hours over there. But I don't have that staff. And if you talk to the commander right now from Westside, you know what he's going to say, just what all other commanders say. You know what, we need officers rolling around in patrol cars. If they're doing community service work, that's fine. They're rolling around and they're visible out there. So I don't have the staff to open it back up full time. So I need y'all support on that. Okay? Thank you. Next question. Senator.
Chile Chinese Community Center. First of all, I want to thank all the officers who are here to listen to the community's concerns about the safety. And I was so kind of feel relieved when the officer said that because the surveillance camera was working and captured some information. So I remember a few years ago, we haven't done this renovation. The center has some incidents. And I heard from maybe one of the community meetings saying that I can actually ask HPD to do a safety evaluation about this community center. So I did. So when the officer came over and he looked around, he said, you know what, you have too many entrances. You have too many doors, right? Well, we were thinking, hey, we're a community center. We serve everybody that walk in. But we couldn't tell who is here for service, who is here for some other purpose, right? So when we did a renovation, we remembered the recommendation from the HPD officer, so we intentionally reduced the entrances, or we put passcode to certain entrances. But given the same scenario, do you still have a program where you can go to the community, especially to those property, management places where they have higher rate of incident, and say, we need to evaluate you. Let me tell you, you're at a C-. CC got a B at the time, and I didn't like that. So we want to be A all the time. Asian people, you only get A, right? So if that evaluation system is still existing, I think some properties will need that, because we need to address the issue. You cannot have a surveillance camera that's not working, or you have a street light that was not working, right? It just pose a risk and danger to the residents.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, we have them at each division, each patrol station. want anybody to come out and do a security survey of your business, we will do it. It's free of charge. So thank you for bringing it up. But just contact your nearest substation, and we'll do it for you. Absolutely. Senator, you have a question.
I was asking about the suspect. Do you know who he is, or does he have a record? Because we're very concerned about repeat violence.
He does have a record of possession of controlled substance and murder of the building on his criminal history.
Is he out on bond for those previous offenses, or do you know?
I don't know about the previous offenses. All I know about the current offense. I think he has a $200,000 bond for this current offense, and I believe don't put me on the record, but I think he has a new charge of possession of controlled substance at the time he was taken into custody.
So I would ask the chief, and you and I have had discussions, what can we do as a community about repeat violent offenders? Because we all know that the robbers do not just do it one time. So your staff is doing a great job, understaffed, but if they take them to the jail, and then we see them back on the streets, number one, it's a huge danger. It certainly affects the morale of your officers.
Well, Senator, that answered the question. I've talked about it, and talked about it not only you to a lot of different people. Criminal justice system, we got to get smarter, okay, and we got to work together. Don't want to point fingers, and I know you're not asking me to do that, but violent offenders, violent repeat offenders, the entire system, have to look at them in a different way. Everybody has their constitutional rights, not against it. But if you show yourself to be violent time after time again, you know what? There's a place called jail with bars, and that's where you need to be. We do have the challenges in Harris County with the court backlog, and I get it, okay? But we have to simply have some kind of system where we're moving those violent offenders up to the top, get them into court to their trial as quickly as we can, get them convicted, and send them to prison. All right? Thanks.
I think if there are no, until people have questions, if there's any elected officials who want to make brief remarks, I think we'll be okay.
And I'm going to have to slip out to another engagement in a moment, but I want to thank everyone for being here. This is serious business. And I respect the chief and his staff so much, but what we don't want to do in Houston is be required to change our quality of life. And in all due respect, if I want to carry cash in a free society, chief, we ought to have that right to do so. So let's support our law enforcement, support each other, but hold those violent offenders accountable. Because it's wrong for us to say, well, I've got to change my hours. Seniors come to me all across Houston saying, we don't leave the house after 5 o'clock. Young people do not take their baby strollers and go down the street to the park after 5 o'clock. That's not what a great city is about. So thank you for being here, and let's commit ourselves to not tolerating the dangers of a repeat violent offender. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Gene.
Good question.
Hello. My sister and I were brutally attacked.
Use your microphone.
Is this? Can you? Oh, sorry. You have to get very close to this thing. I'm sorry. I've never used a microphone before. My sister and I were ambushed and brutally attacked by 3 middle-aged white men. This was an Asian American attack, a hate crime. And I ended up with concussion. My sister ended up in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Spent a couple of weeks in the hospital. And I reported it to the police. And our investigator, he refused to contact the perpetrators. There was 3 white men. And he refused to interview them. He refused to speak to any of the witnesses. There were 4 or 5 witnesses. And he gave them some excuse of why he wouldn't speak to these witnesses or any of these men. He said, well, they would be on those guys' side because they knew, and that was his excuse. for not actually contacting Ms. Miller or trying to find out who the witnesses were, who we can't find out who they are. And so he refused to basically do any investigation whatsoever. And so we were stuck with this. I reported to the hate crime, called hate crime hotline, never got a call back. I tried to see you, sir, Mr. Tien, at the Asian American Police Officers Conference, and I wanted to either speak to you or have someone, I asked someone if they would pass my name and number to you so that I could explain what's happening. Because we had seen that you had requested that the public report hate crimes and said that it's a low number in Houston. And we tried to do that. I was met by a white police officer who intimidated me and walked me out of the building. And I've just been stuck ever since.
Why don't we do
And
this?
frankly, can I just say one more thing?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Frankly, sir, with all due respect, I know you say that this is, you want people to come forward and report these hate crimes, but from my end, and the public's end, at least my end, that feels like a lot of talk, is all it does. Because I can't get anyone to actually do an investigation.
Thank you. Why don't we do this, sir? You get us your name. I've seen you before. Haven't really had the time to talk to you. You should have a case number. That seems highly unlikely with our department, but I'm not going to question your integrity here tonight. I want to get a case number for you so I can look into the facts, me personally as the chief of police. And then once we look into those facts, okay, what happened, why it happened, and then, I want you to show up to the next meeting, and I will show up to the next meeting as well, okay, and then we'll talk about it. But it's important that we hear you, and I hear you tonight, but please present a case number and let me look into it. Thank you. Okay? All right. We'll let you know when the next meeting is. Yeah.
Hey, sir. Sir, before you go, so just be mindful, this is so important to Chief Bender. He actually brought in some commanders, have respected responsibilities in this region. They are here right now. You have the Midwest, the West Side. On top of that, they also have some of their primary staff and their assistant chief over this patrol region. This is how important it is. So we definitely want to rectify this issue tonight. So Chief Bashir is right there, so just offside with him, provide a case number. I will assure you, this is not lip service from my boss. My boss every single day tell me, we're here to serve the community, and he meant every bit of it. Trust me, I know. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I get emails from him, and sometimes texts. And say, almost every night. And look into those loud noise complaints, look into those quality of life stuff, so he is back in stuff. So just see.
Well, we're saying we care about everybody, including you, okay? Give us that information so we can look into it.
One thing I know you guys mentioned earlier about the storefront, I know this has been a hot topic. It's brought to my attention many times already, so this is just the reality, like she said. Chief has basically, made a lot of accommodation so the Manchester storefront can be open. But I will say this, there was a time when Chief Bradford was my chief, there all time we get tied also to a particular building because of technology. But now we have transitioned that platform. The most important thing is not the storefront itself, the building itself, but the concept. The concept is to have the storefront, to have those community service out there, establish those contacts. So when before crisis occurred, to make those phone calls, have those connections. Every single Houston police officer is issued a cell phone, so we have the availability of the technology. So please leverage that. And the most important thing is use it often. Whether you call me on 10,000 things, that's basically nothing materialized, but that's okay. At least allow us the opportunity to look into it before something actually occurs. So yes, so please leverage the technology. Thank you.
Thank you. This is taking me down memory lane because I was on city council and so I remember these meetings. But first of all, Sheila Jackson Lee, I just want to make sure that I thank you all for the work that you're doing and the pain that you feel when these kinds of horrible incidents has happened. I'm joined with my fellow elected officials and I know that they're committed. Mr. Lee, I know where you went. But let me...
You went to talk to somebody.
Yeah, good. Let me tell you how unacceptable and intolerable it has no place in this community. Mr. Tien was, as he is recuperating, God help him to recuperate, was a dishwasher who was working with his family, supporting a full household. That murderous act, he is not deceased, but that was a vicious act that he could have lost his life. And we should just simply say that is just not an acceptable, period. We have officers who say the same thing. But we have to raise our voices that it's just not acceptable. It could be from someone who never had a previous offense, and they can just pick up and do it. That's not acceptable. And we have to come together as a community saying that it is not. And certainly those who do the crime need to pay the time. At the same time, we've got to find a way to collaborate. See, commissioners, council members, DAs, senators. We have to collaborate with the supporting law enforcement. We look to HPD, but there's surrounding law enforcement, and I think it is important that we find ways to get law enforcement entities that are not HPD, the constables and others, working together. That leverages more officers and people with eyes watching out on the street. We know that we want people to be held accountable. There's no doubt. None of us are trying to promote anyone that's doing a criminal act. And I heard the gentleman say, 3 white gentlemen, we know a person who did the dastardly act, allegedly was a person of color. We're not going to tolerate anybody. I'm living in communities that are also victims. So we have to come together. We have communities way on the other side of town that are victims. We had an elderly lady, so somebody grabbed her from the neck at her front door. So I want to be able to boost HPD with the resources that is necessary. The prosecution is on one end. I want to get in the front of it and stop them from coming and getting you into your car or taking your car. And so the way that we want to do that is to draw as many leverage resources that we can together. We want to do this as a community. I want to give you the strength to be able to say, see something, say something. I'm not asking you to go out and arrest people. That's not what you're doing. But you can see it. And I want to congratulate you for this storefront. This was way back from Lee Brown. And I want to thank you, Chief, for keeping it open. It makes a difference. It really does make a difference. And if we can find ways to continue to make it effective in this community, I think you say that the storefront is something very helpful to you. And hopefully that can be an example. But to the gentleman, that looks like a hate crime, and we don't know whether this other crime is a hate crime. Let's use some of our federal resources as well, dealing with hate crimes. And we may be able to add resources to your team, your hate crimes section. I like to look for money where I can find it, to be able to bolster what you're doing. And so with that in mind, can we draw together? As I said, I'm here with my colleague, Congressman Green. I know that Congressman Fletcher is in this area as well. And if we can draw together and let people know that we're standing up against crime together, and that no matter what neighborhood we're in, together, we're not going to tolerate it. We're going to say no to it. And we're going to make sure that we get you in front of the crime. I don't want them hitting you in the head or doing what they did to Mr. Chang, or what to his family, or to his income, or to his ability to recover. We've got a long road ahead of us. And I just will also say that let's the community gather around this family. I look forward to doing so, trying to help him and help their family when they're trying to survive in the midst of him and his income not being there for them. Let's try to do that. So I think we are onto something by recognizing that there are many layers that we can work on. And I'm glad to see my commissioner, because I know she has some resources. When I say that law enforcement, councils, and others, we can just get together and give you something that really stands up in this community, helping our HPD, not looking to them to be the only source of law enforcement. We have more, and we're lucky in this community that we do. So let's all work together. Can we do that? Can we do that? If we're all in the same boat together, we can do that.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Chief, I want to, there's some questions from people online. The first question is, someone has a question about what to do about the panhandlers and the homeless people who come in the parking lot of businesses and starts harassing people, asking them for money, and refuse to leave.
Thank you. A good question. It's a challenge right now. The court systems are backed up, but nobody wants to hear the excuses. If somebody is no law against, being homeless, and we understand that. But the problem is, if you're trying to run a business, and people are out front running customers off, or it's a place of residence, and you come out and people are hanging out and urinating sometimes in public, it disrupts the quality of life. We put a lot of resources on trying to deal with that, and the mayor trying to get people into permanent living, not just temporary, permanent living. But what we're dealing with is mostly mental illness and drug dependency, but mental illness. And even if you get the person and you get them to a place where it's considered permanent housing, so we have to bring in more of our social agencies, and we need more funding. And we got political leaders here, and I know them personally in this region, and they do whatever they can, but you need more funding for homeless, because most of those individuals are suffering from mental illness. Now, from the standpoint of the police department, please call us. We have teams, DRT teams, and homeless outreach teams going around the city trying to regulate. The problem that we have is, kind of under the estimates of the freeways. Even when we arrest or we cite, when it's time to go to court, we don't have anybody that's coming to court. And that's challenging. The officers showing up, but some of that is up on the text dot, and I'm not pointing the fingers at them. I'm just telling y'all the challenges, because they're busy too, and they're short-staffed as well, So it's a problem, but it's a problem that everybody's going to have to work together. But the biggest thing, don't stop calling us, okay? But we got to educate our public too. Those people are panhandling and hanging out because people are giving them money and other items in the intersections and whatnot. If you educate yourself enough, and we educate you, don't do that. Find an agency to give to, and we pull them, or we have wraparound services for them. And if you stop giving to them on the corners, in front of the stores, they're going to go somewhere else, and they're going to really seek the help. But that's a huge problem, but it's going to take all of us working together. Hope that answers.
And the audience members and anybody watching online, if you are not comfortable asking your question in English, you would like to ask your question in Mandarin, we have people who can help translate, so don't be shy. I'm going to do another, while people are thinking about that, another question from online was, what specific things do you recommend in terms of crime prevention? I know we talk a lot about that. We went over a couple of things, but I think community is also looking for not only justice in this case, but specifically, how do we as workers, owners, operators of businesses in the Asiatown area, and I know the community feels like we're a target in this community because we have a lot of businesses that are cash only, or they feel like Asian people don't fight back, so we're an easy target. What kind of things can we do in conjunction with HPD? What kind of things can we do individually? What kind of things can we do as a business community, right? What kind of things should we start with?
I'll take this one. As Chief mentioned earlier, when this incident happened with Mr. Chang, Chief mentioned that, hey, something so violent happened to the community, not the crime itself is the biggest impact, as I mentioned earlier, it's the fear of crime, right? So this is what we did do. The most important thing is the community need to understand that although sometimes we see a snapshot of what media appears, but our stats consistently show that crime is trending down in this part of town. So we need to do a better job to go up there to help reduce that crime. So the reality is, there are times that we would absolutely want to place every single officer in every street corner, every block, but it's not a reality. But the key is, you know, scientists, not me, in the past have, you know, arguably determined there are three things that, or crime that occurs, three things has to happen. Number one is there's opportunity or location for crime to occur. Second thing is it's always the victim. The most importantly is, and that is just the offender, the bad guy, right? So the bad guy sometimes control how they're gonna do things, when they're gonna do things, and what time they're gonna do things, right? So this is why it's important that we need to message out there to take those prevention seriously, to protect ourselves, to make ourselves not a victim, who would definitely prevent crime that way. Or, the chief mentioned earlier, we have a free service to provide those survey, our community service team out here to go and check those locations, increase our security posture to reduce crime, to take away the locations that would make crimes, you know, make crime less conducive. But the most important thing too is I always ask this question, and this question is always asked more than once, and I like to recite this example over and over again, and Chief really wanted me to recite this example for all. I joined back in 1997, and we had roughly 5,500 officers at the time. And fast forward, I had to use my finger and toes for a second, 27 years later, and our population near doubled, and our numbers still actually remain pretty constant, or actually dipped slightly, to roughly about like 5,200 officers. And we compare to different cities, major cities out there, they have all this huge number. One of our sister cities, we like to compare to Chicago. Same annual similar population, but double, or beyond double our police force. But how do we do in Houston to maintain, on top of that, to drive crimes on the right trend by trending down? That's what we talk about, the community. Look at tonight. We have elected officials here, state, federal, and local, council members, prosecutor's office, and community out there that really care to be here. I mean, I know it's difficult. Houston rush hour traffic at 7 p.m. It's difficult to get around. And on top of that, this is like Thursday night. During summer, a lot of have kids, a lot of commitments, a lot of summer activities, but we're here. It takes the whole community. It takes the entire community to make it work. So, to that question earlier, I mean, is there a magic wand that we can just wave around to prevent every single crime there is? Absolutely not. But I think, collectively, we're doing this already. The number is going to be a number. The number will be the biggest telltale sign. And most importantly is the trust. The trust meaning the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, when people don't come to you with problems saying, well, three things just happened. Either A, they don't think you care, or B, they don't think you can do anything about it. Or last but not least, that's the most important thing, is they don't even think you have the resources to do anything about it. But the fact that those questions, those concerns keep coming up, the trust is still there. Can we do better? Absolutely. But we need the entire community to do better. Chief just mentioned earlier, he's already projecting the future already, the next meeting, so folks can come to us with issues and concerns. And here's the honest part. I am not that smart. I don't have a solution for every single problem out there, but I am confident there are smart people out there who definitely have solutions to some of the problems. Could be homeless, could be what that may be, but we are taking stride in a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't want to over-telegraph a particular initiative that we have. I mean, but since we are in this part of town, I definitely want to talk about it. Let's talk about the Vista track. If you guys have driven around there lately, I would imagine it has shown significant, not just some, significant improvements. They come all the way from the top, mayor's priority. Chief said, hey man, make it happen, make our community feel safe, and direct all these commanders, committed commanders, to send their folks out there to make sure that we are keeping our place safe, right? The NGOs, the non-government agency, the elected officials that's all involved in this, and the management district and the business. And also, we are doing something extremely unique. Now, in the past, we always go to most places will host like a positive interaction event with the police, a coffee with the officers event, or your cop shop or whatever that may be, right? Chief actually changed the model slightly, of taking all the officer and community engagement with some of those most problematic events. And why is that important? We basically tell the community, I don't care how bad this is, but we're here. We're here to stay, and we're here together. So not to telegraph anything, tomorrow we do have an event nearby, so our community affairs can push it out, a coffee with a cop at a Burger King, right? So those are important. But Chief, I will have to sing some praise. By no means, I'm not trying over here just to sing this cheap praise over and over again. But I will assure you that if the man called me most of the time, or text me, or email me 2 or 3 in the morning, and he doesn't sleep much, and the truth is, this is the best part. This is the best part. He is in a position that he can delegate to almost his 5,000 plus staff to do the stuff that he has to do. But he's on the ground actively getting involved in every single initiative. Have y'all been to some of those major events? I have heard from my colleagues from different parts of the country. I'm like, oh my God, I have never seen a chief to go out there in 118 plus heat index, right? You know, emancipation, walking around out there to check to make sure everyone's safe. So, I mean, I told my kids, they always act up, and after they act up, they will tell me how they're not going to be mad anymore. I tell them, hey, don't tell me, just show them. So the man is showing you guys right now, right?
Thank you very much, my kind executive assistant chief. But basically, and wrapping up that question, what we can do, work together, look out for one another, understand that it's not the police and us, it's all of us together as one. I want to just say one quick thing, technology. We are short-staffed, okay? So whatever you can do in terms of technology, putting up security cameras, license plate readers, those type of systems in your neighborhood, in front of your business, in front of your house, your homes, some kind of camera system, okay? It is a tremendous tool to solve crimes. But as we get more up as a community, and as people see, you know, when they come to this city, they say, look, you know what, in Houston, well, you're always, it's a camera everywhere. It acts as a deterrent, but we need everybody working together. Just look out for your neighbor. Really, really simple. But we're going to shut it down and have some more questions.
I just want to let everyone know, if anyone wants to ask a question in Chinese, I'll be happy to do translation. OK 大家好啊，我是希望今天这个时候呢，有任何人有任何的问题，这是最好的时候问你的问题，我会帮你用你的问题可以转成，我会帮你翻成英文，因为现在今天你看啊，所有的那个警长都在这里，大家有任何的问题 ，Yeah, I will be happy to translate for you. 是。Okay. This lady say they really want a strong request. The Chinatown, the storefront, have 24 hours patrol. You know, so hopefully that can be happening. Patrol. 24-hour patrol. She said 24-hour patrol.
So there is, and that's why I moved those officers out so we can have more patrol. But I do want to visit with her on sidebar, just to explain a little bit more with the translator of what I explained to the group, because it's important. People have to understand. We fell in love with the building, and I love that building. It's a beautiful place. Yeah. It's still a meeting place, and we still have officers there, but we got to have people in the community patrol.
他的意思是说啊，因为我们在那个 storefront， 他的那个人手不够，没有办法每天在那个我们的那个警察局等这些人来报案。当然是希望说他会加强，但是他没办法说人手真的不够，没有办法能够就是24小时来做这个，在那个警察局等大家来。
So the officers who would be sitting in there are actually on the streets driving around.
Yes. Okay, I have a question for Chief. Is any way, because I know all the Asian people, they are kind of shy to report a crime because sometimes they worry about their identity. So is it possible we can have volunteer base, and they speak Chinese, Mandarin, all that hotline. So all these people, they have a language problem, or they are scared to show their identity. They can report to this hotline, and then have somebody in the police department to have kind of like key person. They can report what's happening, and then they can find a way to solve the issue, or like a case number or whatever. They can do that and follow up with the victim.
I'm definitely in support of hotline. We're going to need a lot of volunteers, not just police officers, to do it. So again, I think that should happen with your division, because it's going to be specifically to this division. But the commander is over there, the chief is in support of it. Okay, all right.
各位好朋
We
友
also have a language line as well too.
You have language line 24 hours, and sort of 911 in Chinese, 911 in Mandarin.
Yes, so there's also a language line, but also be mindful, we also have hundreds of officers that speak certain languages as well. For instance, in Mandarin, I may not be of much help, but Cantonese, I will be you guys.
Oh, wow.
So
So can we have your number? We can call you.
Vietnamese would be okay too.
Can we have your direct line?
That is the direct.
That's right. OK， 那他就是说，我刚刚问他说有没有可能我们有个华语的专线，因为很多人不想把他的身份，好的，很多人不愿意报案，有一个专线，就是中国人义工做专线的，就是接电话，然后跟警察局直接有联络。有没有人愿意做 volunteer? Is any volunteer willing to do the hotline in Chinese? Anybody? Raise your hand. Well, then we can call after the meeting. Yes.
Can we let Congressman Green say a couple words?
I want to ask Congressman Green to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Would you please give Alice a big hand? She's a city council person, but she also worked in the congressional office, and she did an outstanding job. Thank you so much for your service. Another hand for Alice, too. I want to start with an apology. And here's my apology. Whenever there's a crime committed, and the person who commits that crime is a person of color, and it's on a person who may be of some other ethnicity, it really hurts me. It just hurts because I hate to see people of color engaged in criminal activity like that, or any kind of criminal activity. And my guess is that it hurts you if you happen to see a person of Asian ancestry. There's something about this that people of goodwill feel a certain amount of shame when it happens to be someone of their ethnicity doing this. So I want you to know that I'm angry about this because the crime was committed, but I'm very hurt because I want nobody to commit crimes, but it just bothers me to see this happen this way. And the one thing that we cannot do is allow bad people to do bad things and separate us from each other. We cannot allow division to take place because of what bad people are doing. We have to stand together. Just as you see a very integrated audience here tonight, if something like this happens on the other side of town, then we want to see an integrated audience there too. It's time for us to put aside what we see as differences and lines and line up with each other. It really is time for us to stand together against the bad people who are against all of us.
That's right.
So I'm going to ask you to just do this. Give some thought to how we can coalesce and work together. Whaley, the mayor here, they put together working on an organization to do just that. consider joining organizations where you can be of help and be a part of the solution in an organized way. That's very helpful too. Now, Chief, I hope that this is with your approval. But really, there are too many guns. There are too many guns on the street. There are too many guns in the hands of bad people. It's too easy for bad people to buy guns. We have to take a stand against the guns, and we've got to, quite frankly, let people know that we are not going to support people who support letting anybody have a gun. Babies were murdered. 19 babies. 2 teachers. And we haven't done anything about it. Yes, mental illness is a problem. It is a problem. But so are guns. And we can't let people convince us that it's one or the other. It's not just guns, it's not just mental illness, it's mental illness and it's guns, and we have to take on both of them. We cannot allow it to continue. And finally this. These officers, I believe in the deepest crevice of my heart and soul that they want to stop this crime. I believe they do. I believe that if they had a magic wand, they would wave it and there would be no more crime. Unfortunately, there are no magic wands. There are only people who can work together to make a difference. Here's how I think we can work together to make a difference. Aside from meetings like this, we have to make a concerted effort to step outside of our comfort zones. Step outside of the comfort zone. Meet and greet people that we don't know, so that we can get to know each other better and look out for each other better. This city belongs to all of us. Every one of us has the same rights as every other person. And we've got to unite and join together. Do this. Be committed to the other person. It's important that we understand how working together is going to make a difference. And what was said about the cameras, we talked about this at our last meeting with you. Cameras are important. Signage is important. Don't be afraid to let people know that you have a camera. Put a sign up. We have a camera. You're being monitored. You can do that for your own business. You can't do it for mine, but you can do it for your business. It's not about catching criminals. It's about deterring criminal activity. We don't want the crime. We want to prevent it. And I assure you, technology, what the chief said about technology, it works. Technology works. Now, Chief, I'm going to really go out on a limb here, but when you've celebrated your 25th birthday 3 times, you don't mind going out on a limb. Okay? Honestly, my Chief, we need some judges here. Judges need to be here to hear what people are saying. They need to be here. Commissioner, former chief, congresswoman, city councilwoman, there was another council person here. We need to make sure that we have judges at these meetings. We can't tell, we don't want to dictate to courts, but I think everybody ought to hear how people feel about what's happening.
it can make a difference. It can make a difference. I thank the officers for being here. I'm going to support you. I've been a guy who supported. I've been a guy when I've seen it wrong, I've called it out. And as I'm moving towards celebrating my 25th birthday, I promise you I'm not going to stop. Thank you, everybody.
We have a question back here.
Good evening. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to stand up here. I'll try to speak English and save time. I have a question here. I hope you can answer me. What's the meaning for 911 emergency call? Let me tell you my story. I live in an apartment, and downstairs my neighbor made a lot of noises. The whole night, for 2-3 weeks, she has so much energy. She pulled heavy furniture out of the whole apartment. 12 o'clock midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. I could not sleep, and I had class in the morning. And the HOA, the manager, sued her. He went to court 2 times, I think, at least 2 times. She still there. Finally, I think so, a few weeks ago, the HOA, that's the story, not the story. The story is my 911. Okay, when she makes so much noise, I call, I remember midnight, 1 o'clock, I called my security guard. He came over to my apartment. To her apartment, she don't answer the door. And the security guard suggested me call 911. I called, and the security guard called also. Whole night, nobody come. And I get a call, the police are very nice. They said, I sent somebody to your place. They are coming, they're on their way. But whole night, they don't come. 2 security guards, one in the weekday, one in the weekend. And if they said, I understand the police department cut the fund. They don't want people, I understand. But they are so nice, telling me, they are coming. I just wait to 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm tired, I'm just go to bed. And I remember the second time, I think the weekend, when I called, I think the 5th time or 4th time, I get a call, the 911 tell me, this is your last time to call 911. We have your record already. After that, and what's the point? I call 911, nobody come. Even my security guard call 911, still nobody come.
Thank you so much. Chief?
All right. Hey, look, first of all, you are important to us, okay? And I understand your frustration, but the resident, your neighbor, who should be a better neighbor, okay? Them pulling around furniture and moving, it keeps you up. That disrupts your quality of life, and I'm concerned about that. But it's not a 911 call. What we need to do, and I want to get your address. Did that neighbor move? Are they still there? Okay. Problem is solved, okay? But your frustration, problem solved. Yeah. Yeah. Don't call 911 for that. Go for the non-emergency number, okay? Yeah.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name earlier. What's your name again? Yes, ma'am. So perfect. Where my commander's at? West Side and Midwest Commander right there. So we, on a regular basis, have community event in some topics. And within our division, we have community services officers. That's why we're just talking about the storefront concept, and now we have a mobile phone. So it's always important to go out there and make contact with these commanders and know all those community services officers that have those discussions. Yeah, so get those community services involved. Yeah, we should go.
This is what we should do on it. If you ever have a problem like that, okay? Don't worry about the 911. Go to the station and meet with your supervisors over there. Let's see, we have ways of respect. Listen to what I'm saying. We have ways of respectfully getting people's attention. Hear me out. If that person is keeping you up all night, you know what we'll do? we'll go knock on that person's door early in the morning and wake them up and say, you know what? You need to be a better neighbor, okay? You need to stop moving the furniture. It's ways that we can do it. We gotta work together, okay? No, I didn't say that. I don't want you to call 911 for that. It's a non-emergency.
I will tell
But
you.
we'll explain it to you. Okay.
911 is for emergencies only. If you have a, everyone listen, if you have a non-emergency and you would still like the police about, please call 311. 311.
Which?
It's a non-emergency. And I'm going to let our Commissioner, Leslie Briones, wants to make a first statement.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. First of all, thank you, Representative Wu, for bringing us together on such an important topic. To Mr. Cheng's family, let us all take a second to send positivity and healing energy, because we stand in solidarity. To Chief Finner and all of your team, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. It energizes me deeply to see our federal partners, our state partners, our city partners, our district attorney's office here represented, because it is all about coming together and working together. I will be very brief because I want to hear more from you. We're here to listen and learn. But at the end of the day, we stand in solidarity. Here are a few examples of what Harris County has been doing to invest in public safety in the last few months, many of which are only possible because of our federal money. So thank you, Congressman Green. For example, court backlog, we've heard about that. We just invested another $25 million to continue improving on the backlog. We've cleared it 42%, but we still have more work to be done. Thanks to our state partners, our court requested 6 additional criminal district courts. Those were approved. We will have 6 additional courts to help move justice along. Additionally, we invested again, thank you for the federal money, in Violent Persons Warrant Task Force. Some people know it as VIPER. So those individuals who already have a warrant for a violent offense, there is now a special task force that is doubling down looking for those people. Additionally, we have invested in teledeputies so that the calls that are to 911 that don't need an immediate in-person response are channeled so that the sheriff's office can improve in their response time for the most violent crime, and a special emphasis on domestic intimate partner violence crime, because we know that approximately 30% of the murders we're seeing relate to a domestic incident. We've also been so proud to invest even more in the district attorney's office, encouraging and hopefully investing soon more in the public defender's office, bringing the holistic assistance response team to the mental health issue. We need to separate. The Harris County Jail should not be the biggest mental health facility. So bringing the holistic assistance response team to Precinct 4, we were able to do that recently. So those are just a few of the examples. But the bottom line is the federal, state, local government, we need to work together because we're all serving you. And lastly, I'll close with, I'm grateful to be your commissioner, but the truth is I'm sitting here more as a mom, more as somebody who's been the victim of crime several times. And as a proud Latina, to these points about unity, we need our Asian American, our Latino, and our African American community, and all communities in the city. We need to have each other's back. All day, every day, coming together, standing in solidarity, because that's what it's going to take. And I know we're all proud Houstonians. This is our city, and this is the city of good people. So together we will keep making it safer and stand in solidarity. And again, to all of the law enforcement, thank you for your service and sacrifice.
Thank you, Chiefs, for being here tonight. And, so I have a couple questions. One, what are steps that we as a community can take to force the city to actually increase the budget for HPD so that we have an HPD that is comparable to other cities of our size? That may not necessarily be a question for you, it could be also other people in the room, right? We have a current state surplus in our budget. Where is some of that money? What are the steps that we as a community, who do we need to talk to emphasize funding should be invested into our community. Not just HPD, but the wraparound services, right? Someone who's homeless or someone who's getting out of a privatized prison, that's a whole separate issue. We should not have privatized prisons where somebody's basically making a profit on money that could have been used towards helping someone get a job. It's not helping someone to actually be able to, reintegrate into society properly, right? To have an education. We spend more on money on putting someone in jail than actually educating someone to be a productive citizen. What are the steps we can do? And then my last question is, we're going to be knocking on 20,000 doors for this fall election. What are some materials or information that we can get from HPD or other services to include in our bags to distribute in the community?
Well, anybody that knows me, I stay away from politics, but I love my politicians, okay? This is from your chief of police, okay? And I want everybody to hear me. Years back, a few administrations back, they put something in that calls it revenue cap. People don't realize in the city of Houston, we're one of very few cities that you have no funds dedicated to public safety. This is why you see our fleet, our buildings, and it's not just police, it's fire, okay? But a lot of people tell you and they have suggestions on how you run a city and how you should run a city, but they're outside of the city and in a political atmosphere. And I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. It's time that people tell the truth. I never speak up and say too much about politics until it starts affecting public safety. We got a lot of dollars from our federal government during COVID and shortly thereafter that's kept us afloat. It's going to come into place in a time we're already underfunded. We have crime. We've driven those crime numbers down. We're going to need a lot more police officers. We're going to need a lot more firefighters, but we're going to have to build infrastructure. So, under the revenue cap, when you get to a certain extent, level, bringing in funds, and you have to give, and I'm not a person that thinks anybody should be overtaxed, okay? And I think all public officials should be responsible with taxpayers' dollars. But what does it profit a city as a whole? Okay, if you go over 20 million, 40 million, or 50 million this year, you say, well, you know what? It's the fashionable thing to say we're going to give each family back money. And I'm okay with that, as long as you're properly funding public safety. Okay, if you give each family back $10, you understand what you're doing if you would just leave that in a public safety fund, hold people accountable, you would have better police cars, more better salaries for police officers. All that stuff plays into, so the officials, our city council and our mayor have done a fabulous job in funding us as much as they can. But you gotta know the real story behind the scenes. We gotta have ways to fund public safety. And we need to look at revenue cap and a few other things. And I'll let Van answer questions.
I believe we need to solicit you to be part of volunteers. I'm pretty sure when you ask those questions, you have a lot of solutions to that already, Ms. Chen, is that correct? So we need to solicit you to be part of us. But the most important thing too is that is so true. We are slightly, behind in terms of funding and budget, but the commitment is always going to be there. The selfless men and women, day in and day out, they roll their sleeves, they do what they have. Of course, more is always better. But, although there will be some physical challenges, but the commitment is going to be there, for sure.
One thing, we'll get to this next question. What could you pack and hand out in your bag? Let me tell you some of your knowledge and getting educated behind the scenes. Things that's going on behind the scenes in criminal justice. Just tell people the truth. And I never tell people who to vote for, which party. I could care less. You need to have support of people who understand city government and understand that You know what? The #1 priority in any city or any county is public safety. People have to feel strong, have to feel safe, and have to be safe, okay? Go ahead.
Thank you, Chief. My name is Grace Ye. I'm a member of Fujian Province Association. And tonight, first of all, I have to thank all the officials, congressmen, chief, and everybody, and all the organizations throughout Houston in this community come together to work together. And throughout your conversation, so we have a chance to dialogue directly with you all. And I thank you very much. And we got such confidence and assurance from you and your staff. And I know, and we are hoping the safe time is coming. And I do believe within our organization, we have to do our own works, not just rely on the police or someone. Just like somebody live in apartments, if you see the lights should be on, it's not on, then you should voice out to your management to ask them to put on the lights. And the same as the camera. If they show the camera right there, it doesn't work. That is not past that security at all. So to this extent, I hope that the police department can have every half a year or every 3 months send out notification to let the apartments property management saying, please double check your lights and your camera is working properly. We are going to test it from what time to what time to make sure your property is occupied by the residents and they have every right to be the lights on, camera is on. Thank you. And I really appreciate the chance to meet with all the congressmen and all the people in here. Thank you.
Before you sit down, you just warm my heart. Thank you so much. Such a kind person. We'll continue to work together. And as far as holding apartment complexes accountable and everything else, we should. But it's going to be us working together. So thank you for your comments. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Chief. First of all, I want to thank Jingwu to organize this, and this is within the Southwest Management District. I think many of you know about Southwest Management District. Crime is no boundary, but the Southwest District, our neighbor is International District. We have 2 management districts covering almost the most of the Southwest area and a lot of Asian business here. I would like to speak some of them on our behalf. I want to first of all recognize my board members, David Peters, Southwest Management District, our Chinatown Subcommittee Chair, Jonathan Shi, is our staff here, can stand up. Josh is our Executive Director, Victor Casera is our Safety Director. The reason I want to mention that is, we have 8 meetings to the public, just like this. And we work with at least 3 commanders, Midwest, West, and Southwestern. And Chief, this is the second time I met with the Chief Tien, 2 times today, and talk to Chief regularly. The reason is communication is important. If you can come to the safety meeting, I think Max is one of the volunteers, come to our safety meeting, talk about the issues here. When Mr. Chen got a victim, he's a victim. Early Sunday morning, Monday, Fujian Tongxianghui Huidang and many other volunteers bring the victim's family to our board meeting right away. The first thing I do is, got a case number, I gave to Chief. I said the first thing, stop the crimes. The second thing is, we have to do is, how can we help the community? Well, let the association to take care of that. You know, it is a teamwork. But I think with this, I will just mention that it happened to every community, not only Chinese community. I want to say, you know, this is a really good start. I wish we keep the momentum because we are here to improve the safety. Safety is our first priority. The management district, only in our management district, we spend about over $1 million a year. But the thing is, we cannot put every police officer in every corner. But what we can do is we can help, we can work with the police officer. The storefront, I can tell you, my family welcome center has been open that storefront without taking any rent and pay all the utility bill, fix all the AC in the past 30 years. How many of you visit that storefront? When you lost that, you feel it's precious. I fight with Chief and the mayor. Chief said, Kenneth, I will try my best. We're short-handed. Maybe, I think, you know, our congressman once said one suggestion. Can we work with the Briones, the commissioner office, the county, the constable, the city, to try to open as long as hours? We have to use it. We have to remember, we have 2 police stations, Midwest and West. They open 24/7. You can go there to report your case. I want to say is, you know, been working there for many, many years. The help is always there, but you have to come to the meeting. You know, this kind of meeting. I want to say, I mean, the city, of course, is care about us. He just appointed, the mayor just appointed AAPI advisory board. I want to recognize some of the board members here. Mr. Whaley is on the board. Nancy Lee is on the board. I think we have some other people is on the board. Helen Chen is, you know, yes, I'm sorry, your name again? Looking, yes. You see, although it's only 45 members, but we are here as the bridge. Tell what we need, how to work that. HPD officer, they said we need recruiting two, most important, they told me, multilingual police officer who can speak Chinese or Vietnamese and English, because they're short of staff. All this, you see, we have to let people know why we cannot have a bilingual police officer. They cannot recruit any good officers. There's a lot of things we need to communicate. I'm glad that, you know, you heard what we need. We'll keep on working on that because this is just the beginning. You know, I want to recognize especially Jonathan Louis, Lieutenant, you know, and then Chief Bashar over there, because they are in this area, the patrol, and they are working so hard. We are so privileged. We have a Chinatown crime staff. Which city have a Chinatown crime staff? But how many of you know that? The Chinatown crime staff, how can you do that? Because you have to report the crimes too. You know, I talked to Fujian Tongxianghui Zheng Huizang. Well, he has many suggestions. Well, let's work together. Because I think Mr. Chen, the victim, have so lucky to have the Fujian Tongxianghui and many other people to help him. You know. So I just want to say, I'm here, you know, as a volunteer, as a citizen, but I can tell you, our police officer, we only have a 3,500 patrol. And not like Chicago, 3 times or whatever, you know. I mean, unbelievable. Technology is help. We need to work together, you know. And I'm here always want to help. And I want to thank my committee. The Chinatown committee is always on the first Wednesday. Every month. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, everybody. Hey, first of all, thank you for coming to this meeting. It means a lot to the Southwest Management District and to our Chinatown Safety Subcommittee on Chinatown Public Safety. So our meetings are held on the first Wednesday of every month at 12:30 p.m. at the district office. And I don't have the address memorized off the top of my head. 6588 corporate drive, yes. So I hope to see you guys at our meetings. Thank you.
But anyway, I know times are limited. So I'm going to thank you for coming, but we're always here to help. Thank you, Gene.
Thank you so much. Does anyone else have a question?
I thank you for all the officers. I know the time is really tight, so that I will be doing quickly. Next things, I need Miss Alice will be helping me to translate in the rest of the things. Well, actually, I will give some of the questions, and you can give the quick answer because that is for everybody seeing here who really not speaking very good English. Okay, so the first thing is that every time that we call 911, what you want to hear, what is the quick things that you can pick up? You pick the things up, like what we need to say, and you will get all of the information.
就是你要问他，就是说911的 criteria 是什么？打电话给911是什么样的情况才能打给911？这样？
不是，我们打给911是需要告诉他们什么，他们想听到我们告诉他们什么。
OK，
对。
Okay, they want to know, they want to call 911. What's the criteria considered as a 911 call?
When should you call 911? When it's life-threatening or in progress, okay? If your life is in danger, somebody else's life is in danger, or it's a crime in progress.
他说，如果说有生命的危险，有人有你自己或是有旁边人有生命危险的话，那这边可能报告，请让他们来帮你。就是这个很严重的情况才能够打911。
Every time when we call 911, what we need to tell you, I mean, what we need to tell 911, so that you can get the whole incident very quickly.
The main thing is quickly what's going on, okay? They're going to ask you a number of questions. Has anybody heard, the information that you have? But if there's a suspect, if there's danger, okay, to other people, get that out. The description of suspect, vehicle, what the suspect is wearing, but they'll ask you the questions, so it's a series of questions that they ask.
他会如果你打完电话，你要跟他讲说，那情况是这个嫌犯是他的样子长相，要把他记住，他穿什么衣服，他的车子，如果说你能知道他车牌号码，他们就有办法能够把他抓到这个人。这些information他都必须要，当然是他讲是非常紧急的情况下打911。
And the second thing is, I want to know the procedure of the follow-up the case. Every time that we go to the police station and we will file the case and we want our case can be followed. But what I know right now is we have the people shortage, so that our case will be sometimes will be hold down for a couple weeks or something like that. So what we need to do, or what we need to do, if detective will be pick up our case to start the work. 就是我想问的是，yeah, I just translate for everybody. 就是我问的是，我们每一次去 file 我们的这个报警的时候，然后我们每次都会得到一个这个案件的号码，但是我们拿到案件号码之后，很多人就是直接就放在家里就过去了，然后其实。你们可以去，就是我们要问他们的是，我要问他们的是，我们怎么样能够继续跟踪我们的这个案件？怎么样？因为有的时候他们人不会去主动的去把这个案件分配给某一个探员，而是我们需要有探员去他们有探员去拿到你的 case。如果要是拿不到的话，那你这个 case 可能就石沉大海，就是这样。所以我要问他们的流程是什么？ Yeah, the procedure.
Very important to hear this, okay? When you go to the station, that's the initial, original offense report. And then it goes to the division, the investigators. But what's important, and I want you to share this with them, if there are no leads, nothing to follow up on at that time, you're probably not going to get a call from an investigator because there's so many cases. We follow the leads and we follow the evidence. If there's a lead, when the report first comes in, it gets to the investigator. But the thing that's important, you might not have all the information when you file the offense report. But if other information comes up, you need to call that division or call that station because so we can supplement it and get it to the investigator, okay? So don't get upset if you don't get a call back. If somebody broke into your car and we have no other information on it, you're not going to get a call back from the investigator. I wish we could call everybody back, but you can't, okay?
他的意思是说，我们在报案的时候，比如到警察局，或者说有了 case number 的时候，各位你要自己要收集一些所谓的线索，谢谢线索，因为警察局他们真的是没办法知道你是什么，他怎么去查？如果你因为你是受害人，你看到这个嫌疑犯，你知道他长的样子，他的车开什么车，你把这个东西给他们，他们才可以去继续跟踪。如果说你什么都没有，他们在办公室很难去帮你找到这些人，所以你们必须要自己要等于说天助自助，你自己要帮助自己找一些线索给他们，他们才会打电话给你回来说一起来把这个事情给它解决掉。这样子，那有什么问题吗？有没有问题？
Oh, actually, I'm sorry about that, but I have two more quick questions. The first thing is I know the Citizen Police Academy. The program is very good. We want to know is there any consideration to give the bilingual program for this program, because we can know more things about what police do and how we can help the police and how is the police working on that. Because we really appreciate your work, so that we really want to know you more. Okay? 就是接下来的是我的问题是，他们其实有一个警察公民学院的一个program， 他们有一个程序。我是问他们会不会考虑给我们增加双语方面的一个流程。如果要是可以的话，这样的话对我们华人有很大的帮助，因为我们能了解每天警察在做什么，我们怎么样去帮助警察来去做一些什么事情。Okay, the last question actually is the HPD's app. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I downloaded the app today and it's not working. So just to let you know.
We gotta work on that and fix that.
Yeah, you answer the question.
So, what I understand is the Citizen Police Academy. Chief Tien and I were just talking about that, so it's important. We want members from all communities, as many members as we can, to join the Citizens Police Academy. If you contact our Community Affairs Division, and we'll get you the information. We want to get you signed up, okay? And anybody can come there, okay? If you don't speak English, we'll work something out, okay? It's important that everybody comes into the police department. You're our family, and it's important that I stay here. And thank you for your translation, because we're talking, but if everybody don't understand, they don't feel like they're part of the family. And I want to hear from the chief, everybody's my family, and I'm everybody's family in this community, so it's important. So thank you so much for translating for us.
Can I translate whatever you just say, right? 他的意思是说，他很欢迎大家都来接受这个训练啊，这个是公民等于说是警民合作的一个训练。Can you give me your phone number so they can call you? I mean, do you mind if you give a phone number so they can actually, I can give them the phone number, they can call.
Community service.
Community service, do you have anybody has a number? 713 308 3280。他的意思是说，我们大家有兴趣要参加这个训练的话，可以打电话713 308 3281 308 3281 80 OK， 大家有兴趣参加这个训练的话，打电话到713 308 3280。I think it's important for all work together. And actually, I will mention to you, Chief, 20-some years ago, I volunteered to get a crime prevention book in Chinese. So I know you don't have the budget, to print this. Is there any way you can print this? Management district, Li Xiong, can you print the Chinese 这个犯罪手册 in Chinese.
Yes, we do have that. If I mean, I can speak Chinese.
Yeah.
我们新南管理局做了很多事情。我们有中文的，有韩文的，有各种语言的防盗手册，你就到我们办公室来，免费供应。OK， 还有每个月我们有8个会议，公开给大家来参加。So I want to repeat my say in Mandarin, if I may. 我们中国城有一个治安委员会，我们请教那等徐，名字姓齐的，历史的史，首先呢，跟 Max 他们都是 volunteer， 尽量来。各位看看你今天所看到这些警官，全是有心在肩膀上，全是大官，认识一个就抓住他们，跟他们要电话号码。你要认识他们。为什么我有局长电话？因为每天要跟他们见面。还有今天 Alice 也是会讲中文，李瑞华、Nancy Lee，OK， 没有为什么要指派我们做这个叫做 AAPI 的他的这个顾问？因为他希望透过我们把大家的困难 ，safety is number one， 所有人都认为治安是最重要的。但是呢，不要等问题发生再来解决，平常就要注意，要问问你的业主为什么没有帮你去尽责任，你在付房租啊。问题是你到我这边来，我不能管你的 property。好，哦。所以说大家一起来合作。Alice Chen 看他的 Stanford。但是他还跑到这边来，因为犯罪是没有界限的。你以为你在中国城，你住在国外就没有事吗 ？Kitty 一样会有问题，好不好？我们一起合作，好，谢谢。
各位好朋友，大家记得啊，说真的，一定要报案。你不报案的话，他们觉得我们没有在中国城很安全，因为警察局是看报案的地方才看派警察来参加这个就在巡逻。你不报案，他说这边很安全，没有报案。所以各位，如果大家有兴趣的话，真的可以成立一个中文的报案小组，要是有愿意的话，那这样的话大家可以去报案，把这个报案的情况告诉警察局，他们会来照顾我们的。因为警长刚刚讲，他说我们都是他的家人，他真的是很关心我们。今天是礼拜4晚上来看我们，大家给他们热烈掌声。We're gonna give all of you a big round of applause.
Thank you so much. I think we're running out of time. Yes, I do have one comment. It's actually extremely important. Please translate for me on my. 我可以讲。But the most important thing is this is extremely important. Some of the problems just talked about, it may not be a problem. Just tonight, I was approached by a couple of community members telling me the kids are currently in college and would love to join the Houston Police Department. We are hiring. So I am confident most of you have kids, have family members out there. I would love to see them volunteer to pick up this profession, extremely honorable profession. And then, hopefully years from now, it won't be a problem, right? Because guys like me, as I get a little older, a lot of heritage is missing up there. What is left is 30th grade. I can't see too well anymore, so this is going to be time that I'll be gone, right? So please encourage your kids to come up here one day to speak.
OK， 他今天说啊，跟大家讲说，各位朋友们，如果你有亲戚朋友的小孩愿意参加这个警察局，请你们加入警察局的行列。他是需要很多我们的这个会讲中文、会讲各种语言的警察来做这个担任的工作，做社区的服务。What's the number if they want to apply for police? You know. Yeah, I mean, you know, the number if you give to them. What's the number? OK, call. 你们要是有问题，要是有人想要去申请做警察的话，刚刚那个电话就可以去报。希望吗？小孩子可以做律师、做医生，可是要什么？做警察来帮我们服务。谢谢。
All right. Let's give both chiefs a big round of applause. Thank you for your time. Two more orders of business. One is I have a bunch of sheets printed out with mental health resources. If you or your family member or friends or neighbors are having issues, they're having trouble dealing with like the news and everything else, they're a victim of crime, whatever it is, there's people who can help and help for free. We'll be handing these out as you leave the door. And the last thing is we also have a bunch of candidates here who are running for office, and they've taken the time to honor our community by being here as well. And we're going to give them 30 seconds to come up and just introduce themselves and say hello, and while the police chiefs.
Thank you all very much. My name is Tien. I'm running to be the next Harris County District Attorney. I spent 11 years in that office. I go so far back that I used to supervise Gene when he was in the liaison. I've been there as the last 6 in charge of the Vehicular Crimes Division, and the last 4 in charge of part of our felony trial. I've handled thousands of cases, all the way from capital murder down to simple assault. I don't want to spend any time talking about politics tonight. Just for the community, I want you all to know that I have been on probably 300 tragic fatality scenes. And I have been on scenes with just about every single one of these officers that are here tonight. And you all are in such good hands. Every one of these men and women here tonight in uniform care. They care about you. So give them the support. As the Congresswoman said, let's all work as a team. Let's do this. Let's make our community safer. Tien for Harris County DA.
Thank you, Gene, for giving us this opportunity. My name is Conchita Reyes. I am running for City Council at large, Position 1, which is all of Houston. So you are eligible to vote for us. I'm here today to listen, but also I just wanted to let you know that I've been part of the American Jewish Committee, part of the Community Conscience, and one of the things that when I first joined them during the pandemic was doing a PSA for hate crime, because at the time the Asian community was being attacked and there was abuse, and so we wanted to step forward and be ahead of the game, and we started doing PSAs on hate crimes. So I'm here to listen, but I'm also here to support you in any way. My name is Conchita Reyes. I'm running for City Council at large, Position 1. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Muy buenas noches. I'm Holly Maria Flynn-Vilasek, and I'm running for Houston City Council at large, Position 2. I'm here listening and learning, and I want to let you know that one of the things that I'm really focused on is public safety and safe and healthy communities in every corner of Houston. So please, please consider us. We are here to advocate. I can speak for myself. I'm here to advocate and to listen and learn and to be able to raise up the issues, to make sure that our law enforcement has all of the resources that they need to make sure that we do pull together and pull forward with a comprehensive public safety plan to keep everybody safe. Thank you so much. Holly Ferguson,
Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. And I'll just take a brief moment to say, first of all, thank you, Representative Gene. Let's give him a very big hand. Very big hand. So I'll only say to you that I want to be able to serve you because I care and because I have solutions. And so after I thank Gene, who, that's our new chief, by the way, if you want to know who that is, Mr. Daniels, Chief Daniels. He's 11 years old. If you saw him, you want to come up, Chief, so they can see you? He is a survivor of how many? 13 surgeries. Cancer, but doesn't he look wonderful? That's what's coming together. And he wants to be just like you guys over there. And I know you know him. I know you're familiar with him. So I'll just finish by saying, I want to serve you as mayor because I care. And because I think we can solve problems together. And so the night is long and late. And I will leave you with, no community will not be in my eyesight. I will see you. And we will work together. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
I want to recognize, of course, I mean, you know, we are within Gene's district. and Southwest Management District actually is a close work with them. I want all the board members, staff of the Southwest Management District come to the stage and to know everybody here. If you want to come to our meeting, please get the number. 我们的会议是讲中文的，我们是唯一的，所有的这个会里面有中文的发言权。你到中国城的这个开会呢，用中文发言没有问题。So I want to recognize that. Josh, Victor, pick up the drum, yes.
Thank you.